Welcome to all of you from the College of Health Sciences. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that the University of Alberta is located on Treaty 6 territory and the Métis homeland, and we respect the history, languages, and cultures of the First Nations, Métis Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our institution and community. I also want to mention that this webinar is being recorded for those who are not able to be with us at this time. My name is Verna Yu, and I'm the Interim Provost and Vice President Academic, and I'm very pleased to be able to chair this College Dean Vice-Provost Selection Committee and to host this town hall. Moving on to the second slide, the purpose of this town hall is to provide you with an overview of the College Dean Vice-Provost selection process and to give you the opportunity to provide us with your thoughts and opinions on the future direction of the college and on the qualities of your next College Dean Vice-Provost. As you will recall, 2 years ago, the University of Alberta for Tomorrow was launched and the new college structure was formed. At that time, 3 interim college deans were appointed. These appointments will come to an end in June of 2023, and so we are launching the search process to fill these roles. As a point of clarity, when these positions are filled, the title will be amended to College Dean Vice Provost. This will reflect the authority that they need to advance the college objectives and leverage the strengths of the faculties. This will also enable me to hold the College Deans Vice Provost accountable for delivering the goals set by the colleges. Over the next few months, searches will also take place for both the College of Natural and Applied Sciences and the College of Social Sciences and Humanities. So we're going to be a little bit busy. Moving on to slide 3, just a brief refresher on the 3 primary functions of the college. Number 1, to support undergraduate and graduate students and programs. Number 2, to support research. And number 3, to drive interdisciplinary and strategic initiatives, including delivery on established priorities, such as the Institutional Indigenous Strategic Plan, and reaffirming our commitments to equity, diversity, and inclusion. This model will amplify the college leadership, input, and impact on institutional-wide strategies. Moving on to the next slide, the role of the College Dean. Ultimately, the goal for this year is to get the College Deans by Provost in place and focus on advancing the college model. Much of my time will be to continue clarifying the responsibilities and accountabilities of the College Dean Vice Provost role. And it's really important that this process be successful in securing the very best person to lead the college in the coming years. With these thoughts in mind, we have laid out the following roles of the College Dean Vice Provost. Number 1, inspire the shared vision for the college and the university. Working with the deans of the respective colleges, the College Dean Vice Provost will lead the planning processes for the college, including budget, space, hiring, enrollment, program planning. Lead the development of the college research and teaching strategies in alignment with the upcoming university strategic planning processes. Lead the Council of Deans in the college, oversees college administration, and build partnerships and relationships that advance the college and university goals and visions. In terms of the selection process, this slide shows the approval process for this decision. The selection committee makes a decision on final name to put forward to the president. The president can either accept or reject the recommendation from the selection committee, but ultimately, whoever the candidate is that the president supports, it has to be taken to the Board of Governors for final approval. The selection committee composition is outlined within the university procedure and is under the authority of general university policy. There are 13 members, names are listed on the provost website. I would ask that we be united in our support of the selection committee, which is going to be doing some very difficult but essential work to achieve a successful outcome. And on that note, members of the College Dean Vice Provost Selection Committee are here. Members, if you can please turn your cameras on and please just wave to everyone so that we can see you. The next slide goes into the committee names and emails, and alphabetically, it's Bishoy Assis, who's VP Academic for GSA, Lauren Chu, Associate Professor in KSR, Walter Dixon, who's the Vice Chair of the committee and Special Advisor to the Vice President, Research Innovation, Sarah Forgey, who's the Chair of the Department of Pediatrics and FOMD, Louis Franciscotti, Professor, School of Public Health, Tracy Hillier, co-director of SCIP and associate professor in FOMD. Lena Hozama, director of Engineering Connects, Engineering Community and Culture. Diane Kunick, interim dean, faculty of nursing. Christine Legault, interim faculty general manager of KSR. Lionel Liu, who's the Students' Union representative. Joanne Olson, professor of nursing. And Mariette Seed, administrative assistant, faculty affairs, office of FOMD. You will also see that their emails are listed here. Please feel free to reach out to any of them with feedback. Their names and contact information will also be posted on the Provost website. And on behalf of all of us, I just want to say to this committee, I want to publicly thank you for your time and dedication for the search and selection process. The next slide outlines the meeting schedule that's ahead of us. And for committee members to participate in a final decision, members must attend every meeting in the College Dean Vice Provost selection process. So this is quite a commitment. And again, I just want to acknowledge and thank the selection committee members. In terms of the responsibilities for the selection committee, we have to ensure that decision-making is informed, deliberate, and equitable. It's about picking the best person possible for the faculties, college, and the university. The members' votes leading to a decision are based on their own best judgment as individuals, having had the benefit of all the information and considerations undertaken in the committee process. And they will deliver the new college dean, vice provost with a strong mandate. As you know, they are bound by confidentiality throughout the process and afterwards, and please respect these boundaries. And the committee has already had its first meeting, and they are taking all of these responsibilities, obviously, very seriously. In terms of what do we ask from you, faculty, staff, students, and community, we'd like you to attend events. We would like you to provide feedback to the committee. The committee cannot do this work without the input of yourselves, and that's the main reason for today's town hall. We trust that these committee members are doing a good job. They're working hard and will continue to do so. And again, please respect the confines of confidentiality, as confidentiality is key to this process and ensures that the new college dean vice provost is positioned for success. It really is the most important principle in this process. It protects the university, the college, committee, and the candidates. So we are at the end of the presentation, and at this time, I'd like to open the floor for discussion. I invite you to bring forward the priorities, current issues, and a future direction of the college. Also, any comments on the qualities that you'd want to see in the person taking on this role. And finally, any general comments and questions about the process in general, happy to hear about them. I think at the end, we'll open up for questions and comments. And Sheila, I think you're helping to moderate. So questions can either be in the chat box, I think we can see that, or if you wanted to raise your hand, I think Sheila is going to have a chance to be able to see that. And we can take the slide off so that we can see more people on the Zoom.
Yes, please submit, like Brenna said, using the Q&A. You can type a question in that way, and you can also raise your hand and we'll allow you to speak if you want to do it that way. At that time, you'd have to turn your mic on though. We'll just wait for the first question to come in.
Yeah, so the first question is, who are the candidates? So we actually have not even posted the job ad. We wanted to make sure that we follow engagement and good processes. So we've actually just reviewed the job description and the posting at the first committee meeting. With that, the search firm that is working with us is Boyden. And again, their email is also going to be available so that if you have any confidential comments you want to make or any candidates that you think would be good, you can actually email the search firm directly. So right now, we actually don't know who the candidates are, but just to let everyone know that Boyden was contracted back in, I think, August. And so they've actually been doing some preliminary work around the position and potential people that they could tap the shoulder on. So Michael, this is, the question is this an internal or an external search? This is going to be a search broadly. So this is going to be potentially both, could be internal or external. And again, if there's any names of people that you're interested, that you think would be good for this position, please let any member of the search committee know, or email myself, or email the search firm. The next question is about the Board of Governors approved the selection committee procedure in June 2022. Could you speak to how that procedure was developed and specifically what feedback was sought from the academic staff on the composition? Such that did it go through GFC or some other process? So just to say to everyone, my understanding was that the committee procedure was confirmed by the board, as you mentioned, of June of 2022. It follows or mirrors very closely that of searches of the deans and also the provost and the president. So this is a search process that should be very familiar to everyone. We are trying to be fairly broad in terms of the committee members to make sure that they're well represented across the board. And we've already had some really good feedback from some community members about some potential gaps in membership. And we actually are able to review that internally with the committee, that if there are any obvious gaps, that we can actually add additional membership for that. It did go through, I think it was provided to GFC for information. But as I said, we're here today as the town hall to get any feedback from all of you about the process. And so please let us know. The next one, Wendy, about the presentation, can you review the reasoning for establishing the college structure, which may seem like another layer of administration at a time when administrative supports to individual faculty members are being cut back? So it's a good question, Wendy. And I think if you can take a look at the One University document that was posted along with the operating model, that actually would provide you with some more detailed reasoning about establishing the college structure. Obviously, the college structure was established way before I started in this role. But in my perspective, you know, when I started with this position, I had 24 direct reports, something that for me has not been manageable. And so really the college model is a way to not only ensure that we continue to have viability of all the faculties within this university, but also to ensure that we're able to actually have sort of better line of sight and accountabilities through the college model and the college dean / vice provost. It's one of the reasons why I added the vice provost title to the college dean, because I found it quite confusing about what exactly they were. So the vice provost actually added that clarity that these in fact are direct reports to myself. I don't see them as an additional layer because if anything, there are some efficiencies that are going to be gathered by actually having these positions available. Efficiencies when it comes to some of the work that's being done around the interdisciplinarity of the work that's done at the education level and at the research level. If anything, it's actually going to improve some of the efficiencies that we have in place. Next question, will there be an opportunity to hear from the candidates and then provide specific feedback? Absolutely. And so I would really, I know that in the past, we've actually had some closed searches for leadership positions. And I just don't think that that's actually something that the university would like to have. I think these are obviously positions that are very important to all of us in the university. And so having that sort of public forum is actually going to be very important. So, you know, in one of the slides, and again, this is taped, so you can go back and take a look at it. But in one of the slides, when we get to sort of towards the end, once we've shortlisted, there is going to be an opportunity for a public process. And so the anticipation is that there's going to be a public presentation by the shortlisted candidates, that there will be an opportunity for faculty to provide feedback. And we would really like that from all of you, because your feedback is going to be important in the decision recommendation from the Search and Selection Committee. Next question is about how will the budget for the college flow? Will the college dean distribute the budget to the various faculty? So right now, the budget model actually flows from the provost office. So this would really be no different from the provost that goes to the college dean, vice provost, who would then work with the faculties about that. Now, one of the things that is being worked on is what we call the budget model 2.0. And so this is going to be something that we hope will be able to roll out for budget 2024-25, and really is going to be focused on what I would call activity-based budgeting. I think it'll be for the first time where we'll have some transparency about what the budget is, how the budget is allocated, and allocated to different activities of the faculties. And this is going to be a co-design model that's going to be involving the deans of the faculties to make sure that we actually co-design in a way that actually makes sense and actually contributes to the sustainability, especially as we embark on the growth of the university. Next question, Doug. Does the Search and Selection Committee identify that advocacy, enhancement, and support where possible for university institutes as major attribute of a successful candidate? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know where you're coming from in terms of the types of institutes that have been set up, but I think this is broader than just the colleges at the college level. I'm jumping it a bit ahead of time, but we are going to be launching a university strategic plan. And part of that is going to be really about, how do we look at university institutes in a way that is going to actually help us advance into the coming years. I think this is also a very important part of the strategic plan for VPRI. And so university institutes is absolutely a major attribute. And I think right now, we need to think about how it does actually, as I say, advance us as a go forward in terms of the university. Keith, good to hear from you. The question is, given the current government situation that exists in Alberta, how are we adjusting our recruitment approach to try and entice external candidates given the apparent instability we are facing? Oh, Keith, I don't know if I can answer that question in a way that would help, but at the end of the day, I think that's where we are reliant on Boyden and the public-facing part of the document. Absolutely, I think that's not just for this type of position. I think we are going to be challenged with any types of external recruitments. I have to say that now that I'm back in a university position, I think for us as a post-secondary institution, there are lots of things that we can do to advance the importance of education going forward that doesn't necessarily get impacted by some of the current government issues that are in place. So all we can do is just put our best face forward. And at the end of the day, I think we all live in Alberta because we think Alberta is a great place to be. So we just have to highlight that part. VJ, while approval from President and the Board of Government makes sense, is pretty standard, what are circumstances they wouldn't approve a candidate, and how does the process ensure that the President, Board of Governors doesn't decline someone for less than ideal reasons and or in worst case pressure the selection committee towards a candidate? Yeah, that's a good question, VJ. I don't think that the President, Board of Governors would pressure the selection committee towards a candidate. That's not where I would be going with that. If they choose to reject a candidate, then we are back to square one with the selection. We would not be going back to the committee to ask them to choose a different candidate. So I think that's first and foremost. I would hope that we would get to a place where we wouldn't come across such a situation. I don't recall that it's ever happened in university history. It doesn't mean that it can't happen with this setting. But I think that with the types of members that we have on the Search and Selection Committee, we will do the best job possible to find the best person. And then it's up to the President and the Board of Directors. Anonymous, will there be a new search for Vice Dean research? Because it seems a conflict of interest to me to have the Vice Dean research, but the college be the same as the Vice Dean for research, and one of the faculties, the jobs should be separated. So, I mean, that's a good question. I think it comes to the conflict of interest. We did have some conversations about COI in general, and I think for each of us, we have some inherent conflicts of interest. Most people do in any type of job that we do. The most important thing about conflicts of interest is actually, number one, to recognize them, and then number two, to have a mitigating plan about how you would counter that. So I think that at the end of the day, you can actually do Vice Dean research for the college as well as for one of the faculties. I don't see that as not being possible, to be honest. Sometimes there may be some advantages to having these people do sort of comparable jobs, because it actually potentially could align some of the synergies and some of the research, some of the resources that are currently in place. So at the end of the day, I think it's still going to be up for a conversation, and it's not clearly black and white to say that one can or one can't do that. Next one, anonymous, can a current faculty dean hold a position as a college dean simultaneously? I would say that we've left that open, and so that we have not said that it's not possible. Again, sort of comes to the same question that you had before around the conflict of interest for the Vice Dean of Research. Next question, would you share the job posting with EDI leads at the faculties to ensure inclusive wording is captured? There is a specific representative of EDI and Indigenous expertise at the committee level. But absolutely, we, Ev Hamden, as you know, is sitting ex officio on our committees and actually has been helping us to ensure that we do have the inclusive wording. But again, you know, when you do see the job posting, there's anything that any of you have noted where you don't think is captured, please let us know. Would be important for us to actually get everybody's input. Gary, will the university's institutes now be reporting to the college deans as opposed to the individual faculty deans? No, the university institutes have not changed in the reporting, Gary, so I would say that it still belongs within the local faculties. I think on a broader question, though, is that, you know, where do university institutes land? And that's going forward as in terms of in our strategy in both BPRI and the university. So that's something that I think we'll need to look at. But right now, there's no changes to their current reporting. So I feel like I've just been through a grind in terms of answering questions. So, but obviously happy to answer any more. All right, Sheila, is there anything else from your end?
No, nothing else. We'll just give people a minute just to collect their thoughts, see if they have anything else to add, and then we'll sign out. Going once. Oh, here we go.
Okay, Terry, given the committee is representation from students, support staff, faculty, just wonder how ATS views will be represented on the committee. Yeah, so Terry, I think we're having coffee, but that's a really good viewpoint. And so one of the things that we're thinking about, well, not thinking about, that we're planning for is that during the time when the candidates are giving their public presentations, they are going to be meeting with sort of smaller groups of stakeholders, and we've asked that one of the groups be ETS staff. So that's hopefully will be providing with candidates some conversations about specific issues that the ATS staff may be addressing. And so Anonymous asked, will the candidates give public lectures on the interest in positions? Absolutely. That's definitely one of the things that they'll be asked to do. And I hope everybody attends. We'll make sure that it's a hybrid type of presentation, so there'll be an in-person as well as online, but really would be great if we can get a big turnout so that we can get input from the community, trying to make this really, really inclusive and having everybody provide some input into the selection.
I think we're done. Oh, there's one.
Yeah, and you know what, good point, Marguerite. Let me take that back to the search committee. And as I said, the search committee's got an opportunity to add some members, and let us address that, and we'll make that as an agenda item, Sheila, when we have our next search committee.
Yeah, I will add that. All right, last call.
Okay, I just do want to say thank you to everybody that's attended. And as I said, this is being videotaped, so if there's any other further feedback, there's a multitude of ways of contacting us. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice Monday and rest of the week.